All right. Welcome, Linda, to this pod. Glad to have you on this podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with a quick introduction. You want to share about your background? What do you do?
So I have three kids. So I'm a mom of three, a wife, and I own two businesses. One is a dance store, and the other is a custom print shop. So I have an Etsy store and I customize t-shirts, tumblers, things of that nature. And what else? I grew up in Plymouth, runner of many marathons.
That is true. So let's talk about it. So that
Okay.
2025 was your seventh Boston Marathon.
Yes.
Cool. So how do you balance all? So you're mom of three, run two businesses, and you're also pursuing your passion in running. How do you put all together, Linda?
That's a great question. Planning, lots of planning, early mornings. I try not to get too caught up in running too many miles, like needing to run high mileage. I kind of keep it simple. I follow the Hal Higdon training plan. It's not super intensive, but it gives you enough to cross the finish line. If I have a specific goal, such as qualifying for Boston, I might tweak the training to make sure that I'm getting enough miles and enough quality workouts to get where I want to go. But as far as balancing the work and running balance, I don't know. It's definitely not easy, but I
Just
manage.
figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of runs in the middle of the day, early in the morning, after drop off. I'm fortunate that my work is very flexible. If I plan ahead, I can kind of adjust my work schedule to start a little bit later. And then I find myself working 6, 7 days a week to make up for that. Um, but yeah, it's really it.
Interesting. So let's talk about your Boston Marathon journey. So the seventh time, how was it going into the Boston Marathon? Like, what is continuing to drive you to get to Boston? So I think you are qualifying each year, I would guess, it's still, right?
Yeah, yes and no. So I qualified in 2019 and then COVID happened. So I wasn't able to run 2020. Well, I did, but virtual. And then 2021, I didn't have a qualifying time. And then last minute, my marathon that I was running to qualify canceled. And then I was able to jump into another marathon 2 weeks later and fortunately had qualified. And then fast forward to, a few years later, I was qualifying, but then I didn't qualify or my time wasn't good enough.
I see. Oh, the cut-off time. Okay.
Yes. So last year I didn't run because my time wasn't good enough. I think I had like a 3-minute buffer. And then in this past year, I kind of toyed with, I have other goals. Perhaps I should focus on those goals and not spend the money on Boston. But then a friend had said to me, if you have the ability to run Boston, why would you pass up that opportunity? Not everybody gets the opportunity. And that
Yeah.
kind of sold me on, okay, if I have my ticket, if I have the qualifying time, you run Boston. So that was my deciding factor to continue to go back to Boston.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm at.
And then what is your strategy for the BQ races? I think that everyone has their own strategies. Like, okay, these are the races I want to run to plan to qualify for Boston. There's can be in state or it can be, find a flat course somewhere any part of the country. What is your strategy that you figured out that working for you?
So, fortunately, at this point in my journey, I've already qualified for Boston. I've already run Boston. So, I'm fortunate that I can just have fun with whatever I choose to do.
Right.
I don't really think too much about that. Um, if I can run Boston, great. If I can't, I'm also okay with that too. So for this past season, I signed up for Ohio, Glass City, Ohio, not with
Mhm.
the intent to qualify for Boston, with the intent of I want to get another state and I'm going to run Boston on Monday and then I'm going to run Ohio, Glass City, Ohio on Sunday. And I know it's kind of a lot and not really recommended. However, why not get another state off of the training that I just did? Because I wasn't going to get a state with Boston. So why not? I just trained for 18 weeks. I might as well get a state out of it. And then I realized that it's actually, I don't look at courses when I sign up for races because I think that would cause you some negative
I
mental.
I exactly know what you mean. I never also
Yeah.
looked at the course map. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to get wrapped up in like any anxiety or stress. I want to have fun with this. So I didn't look at the course. And then I did happen to go on the website like a week before and I saw, fastest marathon in the country or something of that nature. And I was like, oh, maybe, I'm feeling kind of good. Didn't really get my BQ in Boston. Let's see what happens. So I kind of went into it with that mindset like, let's see what happens. And I did end up qualifying. So it looks like I will be running in 2026. So
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's pretty cool. Now, that's the qualifying part. Now, let's talk about a little bit planning for the race. You ran it 7 times. You probably have figured out now every part of the race and what to do, what not to do. What is your approach towards plan for the race day in the morning? Or I know you're local, so I think you don't have to figure out the logistics to get
yeah,
to the Boston Commons, to get to the bus and get to the start line. But what is your kind of approach towards planning for the race day?
for Boston specifically, right?
Right.
So I've gone about it a few different ways. In 2012, I was new to it. That was my first year. There's a bus that my running club, Colonial Roadrunners, they sponsor a coach bus, and it leaves from Braintree. So the first year I took that bus. It does leave kind of early. I want to say like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So, seeing as I hadn't done it before, I took that route, and that was pretty good because you get to stay on the bus. Actually, I think that year, I can't remember if it was a coach bus or a school bus, but anyway, now they have bathrooms on the bus, so that's pretty convenient, and you could stay on the bus until it's time to go to your corral. The second time I ran in 2017, I was pregnant, and I was kind of feeling like, all right, I want all the sleep I can get. I want to make sure I have time to eat. Like, I don't want to eat too early. I don't, I was thinking of all the other components to running, but now running while carrying a
Mhm.
child. So I opted to take the buses from the Boston Common, which I thought was super easy. And I mean, the bus is a great option, but the buses from the Commons is also a great option. It's just the idea that you have to get to the Quincy T stop or a ride into the city and then to Boston Common. You have to get the bus and then you have to go all the way to Hopkinton.
Yeah.
And I believe you don't stay on those buses. They drop you off right away.
Right. It's
So,
athletic
if
village.
it's
Yeah.
bad weather, if it's hot out, I mean, I don't know. It's a nice option, but I went back this year to doing the bus with my running club, and I just found that to just be just nice. You kind of just relax and you do leave early, but it's a good solution.
I
So,
see. Now that's a good point. I mean, you figured out what works for you based on a couple of
yeah.
options you tried, and you found that taking the running club bus is kind of the option that works for you. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. How was your this year's 2025 Boston Marathon experience?
It was fantastic. I mean, the crowds in what year? There was a year that it was fall. I want to say 2021. The crowds were kind of quiet. And then I think in 2023, I also found the crowds were kind of quiet. It was a misty day, but
Hmm.
this year the crowds were just, oh my gosh, like incredible. I mean, they always are, but just this year it was such nice weather. It was a little warm, but not enough to really complain about, to be honest. I mean, it was really a perfect day. Everywhere you went, everybody was screaming. Just epic Boston as usual. For me, like I wasn't feeling too great. I was getting some stomach pains the first like half of the race. So I wasn't sure what kind of day I was going to have. But I don't know. I run with a lot of like good mindset. I feel like I try really hard to run with a good mindset. Like, you're not going to let this get to you. So I just, I would like to use a strategy called like just run with my heart and, the rest will follow. So I started to think about all the people that couldn't be here or can't be here, can't run. I have a cousin who's disabled. So I tend to, think about her and think about all the others like with cancer and hardships in life. So it's kind of what I did for that
Uh,
race. It was a little tough.
when do you bring those thoughts? Is it after 20 mile or it's when you need the extra help?
It's usually halfway through, coming up closer to the 20-mile mark, then it's like, "Okay, I'm gonna start dedicating each mile." And I have, certain people on my mind. I had a cousin that was, dying that week and
Oh,
he passed away when I was at the expo.
oh boy.
So,
Sorry.
you bring those people, into your thoughts during that
Mhm.
time, and the people that surround those that have lost a loved one, because 'cause you're kinda doing something very joyous, but
Mhm.
not everybody's living in a joyous moment. You have to stop and be grateful, and not everybody can run. So, sometimes it's hard to be okay doing something so fun and so joyous when not everybody can be in that space. So, yeah.
Cool. Now, what do you get out of running? Looks like you mentioned a couple of things that obviously, being fortunate to be able to run, that's great. And you're running for quite some time, run 7 times Boston. I think overall you ran around 33 plus marathons as well. So, what do you get out of running since you're continuing to run and since you're able to?
At this point, I'd have to say that it's become my lifestyle.
Mm.
It's you get up and you go to work every day and you enjoy your job, you enjoy what you do. For me, running is like going to work. It's my job. It's going and doing something that I love doing. There's that feeling of reward after you finish, feeling accomplished, feeling healthy. And when people around you say, I started running today or I started walking today because you inspired me,
Mhm.
that kind of drives me to continue doing something that I am enjoying doing. And there was a point where I ran a marathon or two and decided that I was just going to run a half marathon. And I wasn't training the same way. I wasn't putting in enough effort. So I realized I can't just run half marathons because it doesn't drive me enough. It doesn't motivate me enough. I need to run marathons. So that's when I started doing the states because, at that point, I had run like 9 states and I was like, maybe I'll keep running different states and that will kind of keep me motivated. And now it's just become like a fun thing. Like I'm seeing all these different states and I'm seeing it on foot. So yeah, it's more exciting and it helps motivate me to stay consistent and I feel good mentally, physically. So, and now I'm seeing my daughters taking after me, all three of them are, a little bit here and there, like 5Ks and stuff.
Oh, nice. That's pretty exciting. So you're chasing 50 states, full marathon? Oh,
Yes.
cool. And how many states you are in?
I just hit 25 in Ohio.
You did 25? Oh, you're halfway through. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. I'm doing the halves for 50. And I've done only 15. I have a long way to go, but that's pretty amazing though. Yeah, I can tell you, if you do not have a goal, something like this, I don't know why, unless it forces or life, gives you something, you'll not visit North Dakota or South Dakota or, any other state that, probably
Yeah.
doesn't work, doesn't take you or life doesn't take you, you'll probably not visit. But this way I can at least say, hey, I visited all the states.
Yeah, exactly.
And in some way, shape, or form, I experienced that. Pretty awesome. Well, all the best for the remaining of the states. I don't know if you have a year goal, but that you want to
Hopefully by
complete by
50.
50 by 50.
Yep.
Cool. Now, want to share something about your support system. So over a period of time, sure you figured out, because it takes a lot of time away from your family and you have 3 kids. I would figure out that by now you have a support system that actually helps you to go out and pursue that you things you like. How does it look like for you, the support system?
Well, number one, my running community that is around me, my friends, I honestly don't know that I would be where I am without them because I personally don't love running by myself. I love that social time with them. So having in that accountability, if somebody's able to, if I can only run at 5 a.m., I'm not going to go by myself. So it's great that I have so many people that I can call on and say, hey, like, do you want to run at 5 a.m.? And there's so many people that reach out to, so many
Yeah.
friends. And they also are on their own journey with their goals. So it helps
Right.
that we kind of help each other. And then having my husband, obviously he's, huge supporter, from day one. As soon as I met him, he was like, oh, you've never run a marathon and you want to, like, just do it.
Yeah.
So, here we are 34 marathons later. So, his support is everything. And then my family, my mom and beyond, everyone is so super supportive. So that's also kind of like, no matter how many marathons I run, everyone's cheering around me and they're really motivating me to continue to do the next one and the next one. And every time I see someone, they're like, what number are we on? So it's
Followed the countdown for you. Okay.
so now
Yeah.
like you can't give up because everyone's counting on you. Everyone's asking and intrigued by this. Now like, okay, everyone's kind of expecting me to do this. So now I gotta keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's big motivation and support. So I think that answers that question, right?
It does. No, it's good to have that you put together the support system, and I think that's good to have that support around you from the community, from the family, for sure. Couple of uh, are you going to call it rapid questions? A couple of areas I'm curious. Your take on since you have run so many marathons. So treadmill or no treadmill?
No treadmill.
Do not like treadmill. Okay.
I probably got on the treadmill once in a year, maybe three. Well, you know what? When I go on vacation and I'm not sure of my surroundings, that's when I
Yeah.
get on treadmill.
Okay. So the area you don't know, it's a lot familiar. So go ahead. Cool. Favorite shoe?
Brooks for training, Nike Vaporfly for racing.
Cool. And why? If you want to share.
So don't how does that saying go? Don't fix what's not broken or something. Brooks
Yeah.
has been good to me, so I just don't venture away from them. And then I've also had very few injuries. So when it comes to injuries, I'm very, very cautious
Hmm.
and I don't do anything. No, I don't change my training. I don't change my shoes. The Nike Vaporfly I have found has, was when I started wearing them is when I started qualifying for Boston. So now I believe that
Oh,
that's
wow. Okay. Okay.
really what's driving me to be faster. So yeah, I stick with those.
Nice. Cool. Any smartwatch you wear or your favorite one?
Garmin, just the brand, right? The Garmin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or and Garmin has multiple series too, so you are a Garmin fan for sure. Okay. Favorite race day hydration gel or the energy source that you go
I
for?
use the Honey Stinger chews.
Oh, okay.
I used to use the jelly. I'm not a goo person, like the
Yeah, yeah,
paste
the
goo.
gel. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I used to use the little jelly beans years ago, and then when Honey Stinger came out, I started using those. And again, I don't change what's working for me, and I've
Yeah.
been using those for probably the last 15 marathons.
Wow. Cool. And it's working for you. Yes, say.
Working for me.
Great. Last question. Music or no music?
Music when racing, no music when I'm with my friends.
So if you're running with your friends, no music, you're saying.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. But if you're by yourself, you have used music. Okay. Great. It was great to have you on the pod, Linda, and thanks for sharing your journey and so far, and wish you all the best for upcoming another 25 states. And also, I'm sure you're going to do next
Stu,
year's Boston too.
it was nice meeting you. Nice chatting with you. Thank you so much for having me.